Hello, everyone, and welcome to another TV series commentary. This is Sonic SatAM, or Sonic Saturday Morning.
It's actually called Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, here's the thing about that. For us in the UK, both of the early shows were called Sonic the Hedgehog in the TV listing, so it was completely random which of the two shows was actually airing. SatAM or Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
You think that's funny, Shiro? Both these and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog in my country were just called Sonic. Just Sonic.
Wow.
Well,
You never knew which one was airing at the time.
I know this show aired on Pop at some point, didn't it?
That's where I watched it, yes.
Yes, I remember the show. To an extent. I never got around to seeing it fully, but it was definitely a very good one here. In a flock of a time when shows were kind of just, well, okay, shows based off of video games weren't exactly the cream of the corn back then. We had the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which is pretty much just insert name in front of land, the show. There was Captain N, which was all kinds of wrong here and there. Yeah. And there was the Link Legends of Zelda TV show, which is most famous for, well, excuse me, princess.
Yes. Please don't invoke that.
Allow me, since I actually grew up watching these as they were airing. See, the thing is, everybody, DiC was famous for, let's face it, over-commodifying these franchises that they would adapt. However, this show is a weird exception where they decided to take it seriously and actually, do something that actually respects the source material for a change.
Yeah, DiC made all those shows, but also made this.
Allow me to elaborate.
It's kind of an offshoot for them.
Allow me to elaborate. A lot of the games back then did not have a lot of big story to, per se, base shows off of. So shows, more often than not, sort of had to, come up with the material themselves here and there. So, I'm willing to give DiC some credit here. That said, as a result, a lot of those shows have not aged that well. Ironically, the Sonic shows, for the most part, have pretty much aged well. Even the more comedic Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog one. It helped because there was something for every type of Sonic fan back then. Hey, you wanted a more wacky and comedic take on Sonic? Here's Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog for you. If you wanted a more serious and thought-provoking take, here's Sonic SatAM. And
if you like music, I guess, here's Sonic Underground.
Well, that actually came later, too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he does have a point, though. Sonic Underground is a special show in and of itself, which sadly did not get a proper conclusion.
Not even comic format, from what I know.
If you ask me, this is still, by far, the best Sonic show we've had. By far.
It's definitely... Okay, I guess this will be my time to get to see it in full. So, yeah, currently my favorite Sonic show is the Sonic Boom Show, followed by Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, then Sonic X. Again, haven't seen this show yet in full.
I actually don't know. Aside from the companies involved, which I'll talk a bit more about later, was the team behind these the same as the one of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Well, yes and no.
Apparently, there were people at DiC that were genuine fans of the games, and they wanted to try to take the nature versus technology angle of the games and actually make a show about that.
Let's see, executive producer Andy Hyard. Yes, it's the same. Oh.
Fun fact for those who don't know: the lead writer for the show was Ben Hurst. If you don't know who Ben Hurst was, he went on to also become a writer for the Sonic Archie comics, that's where he continued the Freedom Fighters storyline from this show. Unfortunately, he's no longer among us, so consider this our tribute to him. So
much better tribute than what Ken Penders considered a tribute to.
Well, I'm pretty sure Ken Penders cannot do good by anyone except for himself. So
even for himself. Okay, basically, folks, what we're doing is essentially the first season will be handled in this way. As some of you may recall, Heads or Tails is the actual chronological start of the show, but unfortunately due to networking confrontational differences here and there, ended up being aired as the final season, the final episode of the first season. So we'll be tackling it as such here and there, seeing as how this was the intended way for it to be viewed. And according to what Shirai has told me, some episodes, some versions of the show across the world have showcased it as the first episode as such. So, yeah, aside from that, if I recall correctly, we should be watching the rest of the series as is. So, please do pardon the slight confusion you may see by this first episode of our commentary.
Two minor details as well. These are, technically speaking, the DVD copies, because according to Pedro, the digital releases of some digital releases do fuck things up on some level. So we're just... But the good news is that there's a YouTube channel that has pretty much all 26 episodes, plus this one, I think, combined. It seems to be an official one, so I'll just give you a link in the descriptions of the episodes we have watched, so you can actually have a pinpoint if you actually don't have the DVDs.
Pretty much.
Alright,
Shirai, we should be starting before the actual episode start, black screen, so take us away.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, click.
Ah, that iconic theme song. Definitely one of my favorite Sonic theme songs.
Who actually is the one who's singing it?
I don't know.
Okay.
A singer.
It's fun fact, Shiro. Sally doesn't have a proper voice actress in this episode yet, because since this was originally made as the pilot to show to the network, they had one of the crew members voice Sally. I
know who the composers of the song were.
Noisy Neighbors.
Noisy Neighbors and Michael Tavera.
Huh.
Oh, Michael Tavera. Huh. I've heard some stuff from him. Okay, I'm about to say something, because keep in mind, I grew up with the Portuguese dubs of these things. I'm going to say something that's going to piss off English-speaking Sonic fans all over the world right now. I personally don't really see the appeal of giving Sonic the voice of Urkel, personally, because when I looked at the sprites originally in 1991, I didn't really imagine Urkel's voice to be the one for the character, personally, but whatever.
To Julius White's credit, he doesn't use his Urkel voice for this.
Also, that's a terrible art.
Well, Joe, I will argue that there are times where he does kind of fall into his Urkel voice accidentally. But I'll point it out when it happens.
Well, I don't know who it shows in your country, Pedro, but I can tell this. Julius White is way better than the one they picked for my country.
Can I have a time, please?
I'm not saying Julius White
Go
is bad.
to 2, Shirai.
I'm not saying Julius White is bad, it's just that I find them a bit miscast, personally.
Also, that's Jim
respectfully
Cummings
disagree.
Robotnik.
I'm ready.
This one, however, this is a great casting choice. Jim Cummings as Doctor Robotnik. Oh, yeah.
Almost there, Shirai. Also, he has a wormy sidekick in this version.
Yeah, in some cases, his nephew or cousin, Snively.
So, let me see who actually voices him. Is it Maurice Lamarche?
I don't think so. I know Rob Paulson voices Antoine, but I don't think Maurice Lamarche is in this.
Rob Paulson with a French accent. There you go.
Because this show was airing at pretty much exactly the same time as Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
It was made by two different production crews that had different ideas.
There you go, Charlie Adler. That's the...
Charlie Adler! Awesome. Charlie Adler is one of my favorite voice actors of all time. Oh yeah, now that you mentioned that, I can definitely see a little bit of now that you actually mentioned it, it's been a while, so I never actually bothered to check.
It's Starscream's voice actor, Jova?
Yep, Charlie Adler is famous for voicing Starscream.
He was also the voice of Cow, Chicken, the Red Guy, Flan, plenty of other characters.
Oh, there's Tails.
He was the voice of Mr. Bunny as well.
So if I understand correctly, while, taking obviously its liberties by taking the logical extreme approach to the Sonic formula, it still is mostly based on Sonic 1 and 2, so we're not going to see Knuckles here.
Not yet, no.
No.
This started airing in 1993, if I remember correctly. So no.
If you wanted to see Knuckles, you have to wait until Sonic Underground TV show was.
So Tails here is voiced by Bradley Pierce, who would later go on to be in Jumanji.
Huh.
All right. This also serves a great thing because there you go, Buzz Bomber. See, this is another thing that I like this over the Adventures one, where you actually see the actual badniks from the games.
Thing is, the creators actually felt the need to actually add, supporting characters, over to Sonic and Tails. The Freedom Fighters.
Sure, Bunny's my personal favorite.
Sonic on the guitar. Gee, I wonder.
Well, remember, Dwibs, Rock has always been, even back in the classic.
Oh yeah, I know.
days.
Not just that,
This is giving me horrible flash forwards to Underground.
it complements Sonic's attitude, you know, stay cool, go to school thing. Also, Sonic looks positively devilish in some of his shots. Seriously.
Remember, oh, there you go. Yeah, he sounds like Urkel right now. Like, seriously, it's so distracting to me.
I don't know. I like the voice, and I didn't even
Just
grow
gotta-
up with this one.
Well, I know, Sherry. It's just as someone who grew up with Urkel, you know, like it's just I just hear when his voice drops like that, I just hear Urkel.
I've just got to barely watch Family Matters, but yes.
Did Bradley Pierce voice Tails also for Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog?
No.
Oh, well, it wasn't like key actor. Okay.
A cool thing about this particular episode is that later on, after this bit, we're going to see Sonic and Tails going on a mission, and Tails is kind of used as the audience proxy, which makes sense considering he's supposed to be the younger, new kid of the Freedom Fighters.
Whoa. And now Sonic and Tails became Banjo and Kazooie.
Yes.
Hey, Tails can even fly, so why not?
Sonic and Tails Zooey.
So this is Rotor. The interesting thing is that, if I remember correctly, in this pilot, he's still not called Rotor. In here, he's called Honey, I think. So, because remember, everybody, this was kind of before they figured things out. So, keep
I
that in
think
mind.
they called him Rotor earlier, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
It's not stated
never
here. The only thing which
Never mind,
stated
then.
with changes is his voice actor. It's Mark Ballou for season 1.
I think
Never
they
mind.
still
Okay.
do call him Rotor here.
Never mind. I remember there's at least one character that doesn't have his name, but maybe I'm mistaking it. It's been a year since I've seen it.
Honey was the name of a cat who would later show up in
Yeah,
a
and
re-release
Sonic
of
Fighters.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, then. Never mind. The interesting thing is that Rotor is blue in the proper episodes. In here, he's more purple-ish.
Yeah,
I thought he was
yeah.
always purple.
I remember him
Okay.
as
No, no,
purple.
I remember him being. I remember him not being that light in skin. Like,
I guess
light
because
in
these
temperature
short.
shades.
One thing that I remember about this series is that it mostly takes place in the dark, so maybe that's why.
I
And
definitely,
this first pilot is in the day.
I
guess,
definitely remember him being purple throughout. Like, he's definitely purple nowadays as well, and, well, back in the modern Archie comics.
So yeah, it's up to. Oh, fuck.
Ow. Okay.
And here's Bunny. Basically, this is a half roboticized.
Oh
Bunny.
God,
Escape.
Antoine, what is wrong with your proportions?
I know, right? Remember, Taya, we're still in the beta stage, so keep that in mind.
As for who voices these two, let me check.
Bunny is voiced by Christine Cavanaugh.
The late Christine Cavanaugh.
Oh, Sally, what the hell happened to you?
She shaved her fur.
Yes, for those who may not recall, this is Sally resembling more her look when she sort of guest appeared in some of the games, believe it or not.
Jova, what are you talking about, Jova? I thought Sally debuted in Sonic CD.
I mean the actual Sally, mind you. Not the one that was cosplaying as a pink hedgehog for some reason.
And Antoine instead is voiced by, like we mentioned before, Rob Paulson.
I'm actually really glad that they didn't go with this design because, yeah, I don't really care for this design of Sally.
It looks very anonymous, honestly. Oh God, what's wrong with your eyes, Antoine?
Sorry, Teo, but
Yes, Beta.
it's growing pains, literally. Growing
So,
pains.
Tio,
Yeah.
how about some of the other production companies that will be on this show?
After the credits, Dweebs, don't worry. I love how their hair color of Sally changed from frame to frame.
Well, okay. Keep in mind, everybody, this was hand-drawn animated. By that, I mean actual drawn in paper. You know?
Yeah,
So
every
this is
single
like-
panel.
And
So
this
you
was
have
back
to
in
understand-
1993.
Unlike with digital animation, where it's just as easy as going on the computer and fixing an animation error, with Android animation on paper, that's not the case. You have to literally redraw the whole thing. So a lot of times, animation errors in TV shows would be left untouched because we can't fix this in time for airing. We need to just roll with it. So keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, here we go. They expand the power rings now.
A ring?
Yeah, they come from
I
the...
didn't make the sound.
As they said, there you go. There you go. This was their first explain the power rings. Yeah. So basically, I actually really like the power rings plot device. It's a clever way of incorporating the rings in the show without making Sonic, invincible while he's wearing one. So they still keep the rings in some kind of fashion, but in a way that doesn't, diminish tension.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic X will do something similar as well later on.
Pretty much.
Tails, what is wrong with you? Have you ingested too much meat candy? Basically, unlike with Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, the impetus here is the fact that Robotnik actually succeeded in conquering Mobius. So basically, the situation is kind of reversed. Sonic has to mount up a resistance with his friends to overthrow.
It's actually Sally
Doctor.
who's the leader of the resistance too. But
okay. Well, I don't know much about this. Oh.
It's a bit rude, Sonic.
Don't worry, too.
It's part of the attitude, Waves.
In the episode after this, too, Sonic Boom, we're actually going to see a bit. We're going to get a sample of exactly what happened, actually involving Sally's past. So we'll see that. There you go.
Also, I take that this was the series from which people like Ken Penders took a lot of inspiration from the Sonic comics.
That too, and like I said, Ben Hurst, the lead writer of this show, went on to be a writer for those comics. So he kind of tried to, continue the from the cliffhanger at the end of the show. So, not that I've read the comics, so maybe Jova can elucidate. Did they actually finish the storyline that this show started, Jova, in the comics?
Oh, they continued from it and then some quite vastly, actually.
Well, did they at the very least give the cliffhanger a nice resolution in the comics, at least?
Well, if your speculation was that what at that end was Metal Sonic, then yeah, they eventually got around to that.
Okay, I guess.
Although that said, given what we have learned about what was originally going to add up from that, it was eventually going to have it be back to the status quo anyway, with Snively sort of trying to work things out on his own, but then obviously it not going so well, and then him defaulting to back under Robotnik.
Sonic's grandfather?
Yeah.
Uncle, actually.
Oh, okay. Looks a bit old. Robotnik's way of conquering Mobius was to literally roboticize the life forms, which...
remember that's why he does in the games, so...
True. But again, it's kind of a scary prospect when you get down to it. And in the games, you see animals that are stuck in bodies that do not actually resemble their counterparts. Here, it's literally a robotization of the original body.
I actually like this because they kind of do a both. Like, they don't just do the it's the same thing, just a robot form. No, they also have the Buzz Bomber, so they do still have Badniks from the show. Go ahead, Jova.
Pretty much. It kind of stems from one of the speculations fans had about Sonic 1. The idea that Sonic 1 was arguably Robotnik being in control of things at the time, and Sonic being the sole Mobian to stand up to him and eventually do his best to crumble his rule here and there. This is a much more expanded take on that, where, hey, what if Robotnik's rule was, way more tyrannical overall, to the point where Sonic needed help foiling him overall?
Yeah, this is a much more character-driven show compared to the Adventures one.
Adventures was wacky comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine, you know.
I surprisingly reevaluated it recently. For a long time, I thought it was just, too bizarre. But to be honest, again, it was done in a time where video games had not Shakespearean plot, so they just decided to adapt the game into a Looney Tunes series of sketch, which, it worked for the most part anyway.
What separates Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog from most...
I guess it's best to explain that it aged better than people would have thought it would.
Let me put it this. What separates Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog from most other video game series of the time was like, well, it could be surprisingly clever with its humor here and there. I mean, that's not to say that the other shows couldn't be clever, but they were a lot more, per se, trying to be cool, hip, with the kids and all that, more than anything, as opposed to, timeless humor.
Poor Tails is gonna get dizzy from Sonic spin dashing all over the place.
That being said, that bit with the dog also served for Sonic to explain the robotization process to Tails, which of course gets explained to the audience. Again, it would have been so much better if they had just allowed the creators to just finish this episode properly and properly aired it, in the right order.
That is unfortunately the problem with a lot of TV shows here and there. The execs unfortunately get to call loads of shots with it here and there. And more often than not because they don't have faith in the series until, it starts becoming popular.
Yeah. It boils down to this. They literally took the nature versus technology angle that was just kind of a background symbolism in the first two games and basically made it the focal point. Literally.
So consider this, folks. An actual PSA about environmental hazards and, treating the environment well, and it wasn't too much in your face and, overtly done.
Which, trust me, for 90s cartoons, that was rare. Because
Super alien.
Back in the 90s, it was as blunt as possible for the most part.
Yes.
A hedgehog missile.
A hedgehog-seeking missile, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have to...
God damn it, Tails.
And we have to put the quill on it to make it look like it.
It's just like in the adventure show where he has a laser that only fires at things that are blue. How do you even program it like that?
I mean, it's a good job you're not near the sea or the sky.
I guess it's the same logic that works in the Cuphead universe where it can only parry pink objects.
Fortunately, Tails somehow fits in that backpack.
Well, he's a small boy.
I also loved how, for that scene before, Sonic's meeting with Robotnik was like DiC first. Jesus. Sure.
Oh, I forgot he could do that.
The obvious speedster animal could actually get very fast.
It's like that bit in Sonic Unleashed. How did you get here so quickly?
Alright, let's see what it does.
Okay, so in this show, the Power Ring gives Sonic some interesting abilities. Essentially, in this case, it's a power boost here and there. One that can unfortunately only be used, once per ring overall.
Yeah.
So Tails is gonna throw up in that bag.
No, he seems fine with it.
Even as goggles to sustain the hyperspeed.
Funny. Tails was the one who said the line instead of Sonic.
Yeah, way past cool. Not just that. It's gonna be there's gonna be two catchphrases for this show: way past cool and let's juice. Yes, because a lot of times whenever Sonic is gonna start running, he always says let's juice.
The full
also, Bunny, why do you need the dead hair thing for your ears?
Well, her ears are technically
her ears are
ears.
still natural too. So it's only her arm and her legs. So.
Okay.
It involves me getting a vocal voice surgery.
Also, that catapults we were experimenting earlier on.
And a full body surgery.
How is that gonna help?
I could change Because I need to. Remember, I'm only the temporary VA.
Also, throw in a jacket. Might as well.
Well,
That's not till season 2.
Yeah, the jacket would kind of be an on and off thing at that as well. So we'll plaster my face on every single one of these outfits.
I'm afraid that's not how it works.
Don't you see? The best bombers have special audio-visual technology that allows them to recognize the presence of blue hedgehogs. Okay, we'll use me as the ammo.
Sure, why not?
This is my best plan yet! Hey, where did I get these water balloons from anyway?
And how come gravity stopped working for like a full 10 seconds there?
Don't have to mention it, Pedro. Every time it happens, every time it gets lampshaded, it actually happens.
So, Charlie Adler playing the slimy psychic who would love to betray the main bad guy. Funny, it's kind of fitting that he would go on to play Starscream in the Transformers movies.
What, didn't he play him before?
No. He plays Starscream in the Bayformers movies.
Yeah.
He's very good in that role. Ooh. Alright, Hedgehog Missile. How can you attack what is atop you?
I don't know.
Wait! No! I'm your ally!
Well, kudos to Robotnik for programming his robots with emotions.
Well, at least I survived.
I mean, I would question using water balloons as ammo, but to be fair, as we show also, right here, there are robots. Yeah, it is effective.
Inventions of the great Ivor Robotnik, defeated by bloody water balloons.
Oh, God, and Tails still has an annoying voice.
It would get better over time.
Save us, Colin Vineyard.
Sorry, Pedro, you'll have to wait another 21 years.
Oh boy. Well.
Ow.
That hurt.
Whatever it was, because we couldn't animate it apparently.
It's left to interpretation.
Yeah, get used to this. This is kind of their dynamic. I totally don't love you. No, I totally don't love you.
We swear.
No one believes you.
So that was Sonic SatAM episode.
An executive producer is called Robbie London. Robbie London.
Redundancy much. But yeah, again, pilot. So again, also beta testing for the animation. So I guess that again, as we mentioned, it explains the animation stuff. But here's the interesting thing. Oh, it's not mentioned here, but basically, these Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog are not entirely American production. They're a cooperation with America and my country, Italy. Yes, specifically from one group, Rete Italia. There is another third party involved, Telecinco, which is South American, but that in itself is also associated with the same group as Rete Italia. So it's kind of like two that are about the same thing. Here's the thing: Rete Italia was part of a bigger society called the Fininvest Group that is still present to this day. The problem is, around the end of the 90s, I think, between all the 90s, the Fininvest Group has been subject of investigation that talks about stuff like tax fraud and connection to the mafia. to Italian mafia of Palermo, Sicily. And the Fininvest Group, by the way, is held by a very shady politician. We talked about also in the past here, Berlusconi. So this to sum up, there is a potential, keep in mind not an active accusation because I don't have proof of it, but there is a potential that these adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog were potential money laundering schemes. So, but at the very least, this still stands with these two series were co-developed by the sponsored at the very least by the Italian mafia. How does that make you feel, kids?
Honestly, considering how it got us two great Sonic shows, I see no problem. I see this as an absolute win.
But regardless of that factor, this pilot does the job it's supposed to do, introduction and all. Judging from what I've seen of the rest of the series, it's also it's a bit more light in tone, because while this shows the dystopia, it's mostly shot during the day, and even in the middle of a conflict, you can tell that it's still more lighthearted. Even Sonic's attitude, even in the show, I know it's still to be uplifted and more jokey, but you can tell that this is a bit more closer to the adventures, counterpart. So I guess that we were just experimenting.
Yeah, it's mostly because they want to establish shit. Starting immediately with the next one, they're already in the middle of a Robotnik place, and there's a lot more, infiltration going on.
Still, good stuff. Next.
Show does has some of its, like, I don't know, I don't really want to... Well, some of it can be quite dark, actually, but it's here and there.
Yeah, it's a very good introduction to the show, overall. Great voice cast, except for Sally's lack of her main voice actress for this one here and there. Each cast member seems actually well put. Again, for a show made in the 90s, not only is this show kind of amazing for, not having the environmental message being shoved in your face, but it's actually a rather effective one to some degree here and there. And also, it does feel like one of the more better thought out shows of the 90s. Now, granted, 90s was where, a lot of standards were starting to rise here and there, so that doesn't completely surprise me, but it is good to see that Sonic was breaking the mold amongst video game media, kind of like how he is nowadays, having one of the few good video game movie adaptations. This is a good pilot/season finale, I'll call it. Next.
Leaves.
It was fine. It does what a pilot should do. Make sure the audience and, I guess in this case, the executives are on board.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. Yeah, I guess there won't be any really deeper one until later on.
All right.
Yeah, as for me, there's not that much to say really. It sets up stuff. It explains the power rings. It explains the roboticization process, and basically it shows you the setting, the characters. It does the basic gist of it. Obviously, so far they don't seem that fleshed out, but then again, we'll have an entire show for that. So, yeah, it gets all the necessary stuff done. Shiroi.
It is a fine introduction, although I'm not sure. I mean, I guess at the time people didn't realize it because, very young audience, but I was already a bit older when I got into the Sonic series, and they were airing reruns of this at the time. I'm not really sure how it was seen as just not the first episode for so long, because it very obviously is. Like, even all those years ago, it's like, there's so much about it that just reeks of first episode. I'm not sure how they got away with claiming otherwise. It's just very confusing to me. But, it's a pretty good introduction, though.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll see you for the next episode, which was the proper first one for a lot of people, which I think it's called Sonic Boom. How original.
Oh.
Fitting.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.